Hey, what's going on, my people? What's going on? Thank you for tuning in with Profe Gayu. This here is a good topic I got going on, a couple of things I want to discuss. So, I got going on. Stay tuned, and I'm going to go ahead and put on the intro.
No more, so I left the matrix.
And my money just tripled. I had a good time and it cost me a little. So I found peace, tranquility, faith in my abilities.
I couldn't fake no more, so I left the matrix.
Hey, what's up? Hey, so right now, here in Santo Domingo, the weather is raining. It's been raining all day. So hopefully me sitting out here on the balcony, the rain doesn't hopefully the rain doesn't affect the noise, affect the sound. But the topic is discrimination in the Dominican Republic. So I have a special guest that's supposed to be coming in. So I'm waiting on him right now, but until he does get here, I'm going to go ahead and say a few things about the topic. So lately, I talked a little bit about this about maybe a week or so ago on the live, but I'm going to just hit all the important points and have a discussion with my guest when he does come in. So, I think I want to first just start off saying how much I absolutely love the Dominican Republic. I love it. And with that said, there is no one or two or three rotten apples that's going to rotten my bunch. It's a country that has phenomenal people. It's a country that has people filled with great spirit, and I'm just blessed to be able to be here. And sometimes for those of you who don't actually live here, it's really hard to get a sense of the environment here, right? Sometimes it's easy to get clouded by what we see on YouTube, on social media, and we really don't have a really good idea of that feeling it is to be here, that real experience to be here. And I feel like the best way to get that essence of what it's like to be in the Dominican Republic is actually have boots on ground, to actually live here and spend that long period of time here to get to know the people, the culture, the system, etc. Because I mean, look, I would be a fool to say that there is no discrimination here, because discrimination does exist here in the Dominican Republic, and you will find that some people are mistreated based on their color or based on their social economic status or their education or their country of origin, just many reasons. And at some level of systematic discrimination here in the Dominican Republic. I mean, it is. I think I told a story. My last live, the live I had maybe about a week or so ago. I told a story about a guy in the street bullying a Haitian fruit vendor, and that led to that bully's death. I won't put that video out on YouTube because it's a video that's graphic, and I don't want any issues with YouTube. But I mean, stuff happens. As you all know, some of you who may follow my channel may be familiar with some other YouTubers here in the Dominican Republic. Finger, which is the kiosk number 91 on Sosua Beach in Sosua. Finger, and check out his channel. He has a channel as well. Finger had an issue where he talked about being attacked and almost losing his life. And as he said, it was probably based on him being Haitian. The U.S. Embassy in DR, they put out an advisory that some dark-skinned Americans were being deported to Haiti and withheld without food, and they also put out that some dark-skinned Americans may be targeted for being Haitian by immigration or law enforcement. So we should carry identification and just be aware of the issue, what's going on here. And I mean, that happened about maybe 2 weeks ago. They put that out. In addition, the U.S. government has alleged that companies in DR, there are some companies in DR that are using Haitians as forced labor. So despite all this, that doesn't mean that Dominicans are bad people or the Dominican Republic is a bad country. Because look, in my experience, look, Dominicans are great people, and that's why I live in Dominicans are great people. And a few rotten apples would not change my mind about Dominican and the Dominican Republic. So you will not hear me speak badly about Dominican Republic, bash Dominicans or anything like that, because that few people does not represent all Dominicans. And I think that a lot of us tend to have this them against us or us against them attitude. And that just creates issues. That just create issues. And I even go as far as criticizing leadership. When you have leadership in whether it's the leadership in the United States or Dominican Republic, you set the tone for your environment. And I feel that the leadership in the Dominican Republic can do a better job in setting the tone for the environment. Because when you have such a policy where you're, pushing mass deportation, you have to be able to do so. You have to be able to do so in a way where you're still treating people with respect as human beings, and also reinforcing that respect in society, right? And your speeches and your tone and the way you go about implementing these policies, you got to do it from a position of respect for other humans. And I think that leadership can do a better job at doing that, because when you have such a policy, it can easily be interpreted as these people are the problem, and that sets a tone for the environment, and then you are fueling that us against them against us attitude, and we don't want that, right? We don't want that. So that's basically it. One day I will be leaving DR, and you will never hear me speak negatively about DR. Because I mean, I learned a lot from the country. The country has given me a lot, and a few bad apples will not rock my bunch, and that goes for any country you go to. I mean, even if you look at, maybe I'm from the U.S., so you look at the United States, you look at some other country, you're going to have discrimination. You're going to have some bad apples, but they don't represent everyone there, right? They don't represent everyone in that country, and yeah, that's basically all I gotta say about that. I'm waiting on Xstrolling. Xstrolling was good, fam, was good. Hey, come on in, man. I just wanted to start the live going, talking about that. Let me go ahead and drop the link for you. Yeah, so Xstrolling is going to jump on the live, and we're going to talk about this whole mess going on with DR, man. Xstrolling was good, man, was good. Where you at? All right. So until he gets logged in, everywhere you go, man, everywhere you go, when you hear this talk about, Dominicans and Haitians, I mean, it's just a lot of a lot of negative energy, man. And but I think it's also good because some of the when you shed light on something that's been hidden in the darkness for a while, it forces some people to change their ways, right? So I think that is a good thing that can come out of all this. But I want to hear what Xstrolling has to say. Xstrolling, where you at? There you are. Boom. Add to the stream. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good. Just hanging in there. We got
thank you
dumped.
for coming.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say we got dumped with 8 inches of snow yesterday. So yeah,
I'm so glad not to be there.
I know.
Well, pretty soon you're gonna be here where I'm at, man.
I know. I can't wait.
First of all, man, introduce yourself because you're always in the chats, man, on my lives, man, and I appreciate the support. But introduce yourself, man. Tell the people who you are, man, where you from, and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I go by Xstrolling, but my name is Dave. Let's see. I don't know if you can tell by the accent, but I wasn't born in the US. I was actually born in Nigeria, West Africa. I moved to the United States, I believe when I was about 17.
Okay.
And I did college, did grad school, and shortly after that, I think, let's see, probably about 5 or 6 years after being in the States, I actually naturalized and became a United States citizen. So I'm a dual national. So that's my
Congrats.
story. Yeah, that's my story.
So just to let the audience know, I know Xstrolling from being on the channel, and he has expressed to me that he plans to be leaving the United States. He plans to be moving to Santo Domingo, and he had also expressed interest in other countries like Peru, Argentina. And we've been having a conversation, and he's has taught me a little bit about Argentina that I didn't know about, the whole blue dollars thing. I had to go look that up. But now with all this that's going on in the Dominican Republic, I know that some folks are going to be second guessing. Should I move there, or should I continue to go there for vacation? Right. And what do you think about all that?
So I think people do have, I mean, just based on what everybody is saying, people do have a reason to be concerned. But I think part of it too is just I had to actually step back a little bit and think about it as a whole, because I feel like this whole issue between DR and Haiti, it's a multifaceted issue.
Yes.
Because on one hand, you have the fact that the DR and Haiti have this historically tense relationship that goes back decades and decades and decades. And on the other hand, you also realize that Haiti is in a crisis. The DR is not responsible for that particular crisis, and the DR is not responsible for Haiti's security or economy. And basically, the whole thing going on in Haiti is it's a Haitian problems that only the Haitians can solve. So there's also that fact. And finally, the other part of it, you look at it in terms of illegal immigration. And even here in the United States, we have all this, especially when it comes down to election time, it becomes a big issue, illegal immigration. And, you got to respect the fact that every country has laws concerning that. And DR has every right to enforce its migration laws, because the United States on a monthly basis are deporting Haitians and Dominicans, and they haven't stopped doing that, even though Haiti is going through a crisis. Because as far as the United States is concerned, you're trying to migrate for economic reasons. It's not because of war. So they're not going to just open up the asylum floodgates for Haitians because it's not a war going on, So when you look at it through that whole prism, I mean, you have a poor country. I would look at it more, Haiti as more of a historically poor country. And you look at DR, that's, a developing country that has made a lot of strides. You look at it and you go, on one hand, I can understand why the Dominican Republic is like, you know what? We can't take you in. We have enough of our own problems. We can't take you in. You guys have to fix your own problem. But on the other hand, also, you're looking at it in terms of a humanitarian issue too, because you're like, you know what? When Venezuela was going through all this, well, they're still going through the issue, but Colombia actually opened up the country for Venezuelans. They made it easier for Venezuelans to get into to Colombia. But on the other hand, you can also argue that crime has risen a lot in Colombia, and there's also that backlash against Venezuelans in Colombia as well. So I just don't feel like it's this an easy yes and no kind of a situation. There's a lot of gray areas to this because, I don't want to dismiss how the Dominican Republic government feels about this, because they have a right to feel that way. And at the same time, I don't also want to dismiss the Haitians, for wanting to get out of the misery that they're in and try to look for a better life elsewhere. So that's it's just a big issue. It's not easy because I feel like a lot of people are taking sides and this going, it's this way or the other way, and it's like, no, it's not that black and white as we all think it should be.
Hey, Xstrolling, I want to commend you for that explanation, man. That was a great explanation. People leave out the political side of all this, right? There's a historical side of this that is not just some Dominicans treating some Haitians bad, you know what I mean? Or the system
Right.
treating the Haitians bad. It's so much more than that. And with the political side, there's so many different moving parts and different different influences that you just can't just sum it all that Dominicans are bad and they should do better against Haitians, right?
Right.
I know that the United States even wanted the Dominican Republic to put a refugee camp on their side of the border. You know what I mean?
Right.
So even then, I know that the United States is very influential, but even then, a country like the Dominican Republic that's making progress, but as you mentioned, man, it's not their responsibility to fix those issues for Haiti. At the same time, DR has so much of its own issues while trying to, improve the economy and the country so it can be in a better stance on the international stage. And look, the Dominican Republic right now is on the verge of being the 6th largest economy in Latin America.
Wow.
And for a country that just has 10 million people, that is big. That is big.
Wow. That's
And
impressive.
I would hate that all this bad press or maybe even say bad policy would turn folks away from coming to DR, and then DR would sort of stop growing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I mean, there's so much to it, but I just hope that I hope that some of the issues get addressed. I mean, there are some human rights issues. I mean, I'm not going to like
Exactly.
ignore that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, those are not Dominican people issues. Those are selected few, some companies, some people, maybe even some bad policy or some a bad way of implementing policy that has caused a lot of that. So I just think people should chill on all that. DR, the country is not the enemy. The people are not the enemy. It's just a few rotten apples, which anyone can pick out of any country. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I think you make a great point because, as I said, I feel like a lot of people are taking sides. It's like it's either you're this or you're that, and it's like, man, you got to look at it as a whole, because it's just like the U.S. asking the DR to set up a refugee camp. It's like, so who's gonna be taking care of these people? Who's gonna be in charge of making sure that the women and the children are not being victimized?
Abused.
Who's gonna be doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you asking a country that has its own problems? The Dominican Republic has its own issues. Are you asking them to be able to just come in and try to save a different country? It's like you're asking too much. So it's a different conversation if you're saying you want the international community as a whole to come in and set something up, but you can't just ask a country that has its own struggle to come in and just try to help a different country that's also struggling. It doesn't work.
Exactly. It doesn't. And with the United States, with its resources, they can easily set up a refugee camp within Haiti itself, right? If that's something they want to do. and
Exactly.
or they got boats, they got resources, they can put on this. There's things they can do. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, you know. But I want to talk about Ramona. Ramona says there is a lot of delinquency lately, and I want to say this too. That is something that a lot of people feel. A lot of people point the finger at, you know, at Haitians as being the others, or like they're the reason. They are the reason for all the delinquency and rise in crime in the Dominican Republic. When in actuality, we all know that the majority of crime committed in DR are Dominicans, right?
Right.
But so I think that is too easy to point the finger at someone else, which all comes about, the leadership and the environment they
Hmm.
set, where they are fueling this us against them attitude between Dominicans and
Exactly.
Haitians, and
Exactly.
it does not fix the issue. It does not fix the issue. It only makes them worse.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but yes, Ramona, there is a lot of delinquency here. A lot. I mean, hell, day before yesterday, there's someone I knew that got robbed. 6 o'clock in the morning, getting off from work, got robbed by a girl with a knife
Wow.
and Daisy Dukes on La Tapas Afueras.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So on the street, I'm not talking about in the car or whatever, on the street. So this can happen. There's a lot of delinquency going on, but I think that there's a sense of, it doesn't come from a fair position when you're just pointing that delinquency at the Haitians.
Right. Right. Because I mean, you gotta look at it on a global scale too, because it's not just limited to the DR. I mean, it's the
Mhm.
same issue going on in every Latin American country and even the United States. You're seeing people being robbed in broad daylight. I mean, I see it all the time on IG on the streets of New York, and you're just like, what? People getting their,
Yeah,
chains grabbed and all that stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
wow, it's happening everywhere. But at the same time, you got to also look at the impact COVID has had on the entire global economy. You know, with
yeah.
with also the issue of inflation. Those are all contributing factors to this, and it's not just easy to just point to one thing. There's a bunch of factors that's leading to the delinquencies, as you said.
Exactly. And look, man, I can tell you that countless people I've talked to here, where things were going good for them. They were progressing in their careers and everything. And when the pandemic came, everything just stopped, and they had to start all over after the pandemic. So a lot of folks are still struggling to get back on track. And I don't want to equate. So I think it's really easy to equate, poverty with crime. But those are two different things, because you have countries that have a lot of poverty but don't have a lot of crime, and you have countries
Right.
that don't have a lot of poverty and have a lot more crime. So they're
Right.
not two of the same thing. But at the same time, when you have people, especially during the holiday time, where they don't have any money to you know for this or gifts or whatever, or leche for their baby or whatever, they're going to go out and take it.
Hmm.
So there it
Absolutely.
is. There it
Absolutely.
is.
Because I mean, it's like uh, just like Ramon just said, you're no longer safe in any country. It's like, I don't know if you've been seeing the news and all of this about all the smash and grabs that has been happening in malls in the United States. You just have a
What happened?
bunch of people just running in and smashing, be it a jewelry store, and just smashing things and grabbing as much as they can and just taking off. And you see people doing the
Mhm.
same thing at Walmart, just grabbing stuff and running with it. And I'm just like,
Wow.
wow, what what is the wall coming to when people are just able to do stuff like that? Because it's just crazy. But again, it's not just one particular group. It's not just one sector of society. It
Yeah.
cuts across all sectors here. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you said. Is it possible that Haitians are doing some of the robberies? Absolutely. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you can't just say it's all Haitians. You know,
Yeah. or it's exclusively Haitians that are committing all these crimes. Nah, that's not it. That's not it. It's not true.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
but I do want to say this. So, with all this that's happening, how do you feel now? Because when did you originally plan on being here? Was it next summer or next spring?
Yeah, the plan is August. I was looking more in terms of the what's the word that's used, the low season. So
Low season. Got it. Got it.
yeah, that would be the summertime.
So good. So August. So has that changed? How do you feel about all that right now?
No, I think just by having conversation, not just with you, with other people that have been there. Because I
Yeah.
actually reached out to Chapapa and
Yeah.
the other guy, there's another YouTuber, I believe it's Keloke TV, and he was just
Yeah.
like,
I don't know that guy, but yeah.
yeah, he was just like, it's basically the same conversation that we're having. Is it's a multifaceted issue. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
And they were all saying the same thing that, bro, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. You just have to look past the noise and see the place for what it is. And I just wanted to say one thing. It's like I think was it last week, brother Taylor of Taylor Made Dreams.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he did a video about this issue as well. Just blasting the American Embassy statement, and
Yeah.
brother Greg of Flip Flop, he also did
Yeah.
a video talking about this issue. And I respect both of their opinions because they've lived in the Dominican Republic for a long time, and
Yeah.
I mean, as African Americans, you gotta be skeptical of any official U.S. stance on anything that has to do with race because
Yeah.
you look at
Yeah.
you look at how everything in America is race, and it's like everything in America is about race and all of that stuff, and you gotta be skeptical when you have an official statement from the U.S. government talking about race. It's like,
Most definitely. Most definitely. But
yeah,
but if what they, but what I've heard, a lot of people will talk about the issue and they will talk about what you just said and forget about, okay, so if there are actually people, dark skinned Americans that are actually being withheld, without food and being deported to Haiti, that is an issue. I mean, I
exactly.
think that we can't skip that.
Yeah, and that was the other part that I was gonna say is that there's no smoke without fire. You know,
Yeah.
there has to be an element of truth in the statement they made. It might have been a very overarching statement that was too broad,
Exactly.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's possible that there have been people that have called the embassy to say, hey, I was stopped and I was put in jail, and it took maybe a day or two to get me out. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
gotta be a truth in that, and then that raises the concern a lot of people have is, are you when you're stopping people, especially people that are not Haitians, or because I
Mhm.
think about it, I think about all the different cultures that I've seen on YouTube in DR,
Yeah.
from African Americans to Black Canadians to Black Europeans,
Yeah.
Australians, all of
Yeah.
that. When you're stopping these people, how are you treating people? That's gonna be
Yeah.
the biggest thing. You just lumping everybody that looks a certain way and just calling them is one thing, because if that's the approach, then obviously it's gonna create a lot of issues, because people are gonna be like, hey, I don't want to be treated that way. And Flip Flop did say something. He said, you know just carry your passport with you, you know carry your passport card with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Carry your passport card. I wouldn't carry my passport, but maybe a copy of the passport or your passport card. Or in my
Yeah,
case, I just carry my cellular. You know what I mean? So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
some of the things I was reading was saying that even folks that were showing cedulars, they were saying that the cedulars were fake. And to me, it just makes sense to just, if I was there, because I
Mhm.
have an old, I have basically I have an American passport that expired, and I have one that's current. I probably would just carry the
Yeah.
expired passport as well as my passport card with me, just to be on the
Yeah.
safe side. Just to be on the safe side, because if the idea is that if they're going by it in terms of color, then
Yeah.
you as an African Americans, we just have to know that you're in a different country, so you
Yeah.
need to carry identification that
But
lets
he,
people know who you are.
yeah, that is a law. I mean, that's the law in here. I believe that's the law in the United States as well, that you have to carry an ID with you.
Yeah,
Or
different states
maybe
has
it's certain
different
states.
rules. Yeah, different states have
Maybe
different
certain
rules
states.
about that. Yeah. So,
But here's the
so
law: you got to have ID when you.
exactly. So, and I think what Flip Flop said, it made a lot of sense because you know it's more than just being stopped and questioned. It's about what if you got into an accident? How are people gonna know that you are this person from this country, that they should probably contact the embassy on your behalf? Or if you got into a hospital and they're trying to figure out who the heck is this
Exactly.
person? So to me, when
Exactly.
I was just listening to that live, I was just like, okay, that makes sense in that way, because
Exactly.
by carrying my identification, it's gonna solve some of the issues, probably not all. It's gonna solve some of
Yeah.
the issues, because the other part of it too is you can't dismiss the fact that you're gonna run into regular people that are just you know have
Assholes.
yeah, exactly, are prejudicial in their
Mm-hmm.
in their actions. And to
Yep.
me, in that sense, to me, that's not as different as being in America. you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
that's not as different as being in America,
But
because I deal with that all the time.
yeah, and that's showing exactly. You deal with that all the time in the U.S. Being Nigerian American, and over here, sometimes it can work in your favor. Oh, you're a foreigner. Oh, you're American. Sometimes it can work in your favor. Sometimes it work against your favor, right?
Right.
It's you don't want to be American. You want to be Dominican, right? Because
Exactly.
people are gonna try to. Oh, you American, you got money, gonna try to like scam you or get over on you or give you like what they call the gringo price or whatever. So I
Yep.
mean, it can work in your favor in both ways, but at the same time, even though you have a lot of people that, I mean, I can tell you there's countless moments where people mistaken me for being Haitian.
Hmm.
Some Haitians mistaken me for being Haitian, right? They just start talking Creole to me, and I look at them like, huh? then they'll switch up. But that's okay. But you will have moments where people will assume you're Haitian, and they'll
Hmm.
have an attitude,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And that will come. But again, that is no different from being in the U.S., where every once in a
Exactly.
while you're gonna come across somebody. They're gonna look at who you are. They're gonna make their assumption and have an attitude because of what they think, right? So it's no different.
No different at all. And it's like I went to college in Wisconsin, so in northern Wisconsin for that matter. So it's just like you get to see things, and you get to have experiences that just makes you go, wow,
Yeah,
and you just have to learn to just move forward, because it's easy to be angry. It's easy to, be violent. But again, you're feeding into that narrative, that particular narrative that they're trying to, write about you. When you get
yeah,
angry, and all of that, because it fits into all that angry black male, narrative, that stereotype that people try to come up with. So for me, it's just one of those things that you just get past. For me, I had to get past the anger and just have this attitude of water over a chicken's back. You just throw it off and
yeah.
just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I think one thing I want people to really get from this live and get from my channel is, look, man, we cannot deny that being black has its challenges. You know what I mean? Living in this world, not just the U.S., living in this world, man, being black has its challenges. But
Hmm.
don't let that limit you and limit your happiness and limit
Exactly.
your opportunities and limit your success because it's a big world out there, man. And most
Exactly.
folks are good people, and don't
Right.
let those bad apples take away your happiness. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Xstrolling.
Yeah.
I know you got to go soon, but I really, 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 really want to know. Right now, what's your plan? What's your plan on? I know you talked about possibly going to a different country or doing both. Or what's your plan? Because I'm really interested. Because I want people to know that it's not just moving to the Dominican Republic or moving to another country. I mean, there's you can live this lifestyle in many countries at the same time and be a resident and citizen in many different countries at the same time. And yeah, I want to know your thoughts, man.
Yeah. So it's just like I was talking to you the other day. It's like my biggest goal would be that Mekuso passport. I just want that Mekuso passport, and going to the DR wouldn't provide that option. I mean, it's going to provide the residency option, but it's not going to lead to, because I look at it like 10 years, 20 years from now, I want to be able to say, I want to be able to maybe live in Argentina for a year or two and just move on to, say, Paraguay, because nobody talks about Paraguay. Nobody talks about Chile. Nobody talks about Uruguay. Nobody talks about all these other places. It's like everybody talks about Brazil, Colombia, and and it's like, man, there's a lot of places out there. And so for me, it's like when I keep looking at it, I just keep coming back to Peru just because they have one of the smoothest process. Because one thing with Latin America is almost like dealing with Europeans is the bureaucracy, but it just feels like Peru has that whole thing sorted out, that it's a very straightforward process. But obviously, I'm looking from the outside, so it's going to be different when you're doing it from the inside. But the goal is just going to be to try to get that Mekusa passport. Obviously, I'm going to start with the DR just to be able to get my feet wet, because it's like an hour and a half away from Miami and all of that. So it's going to be easy to just do that back and forth for a while and just get to get my feet wet. But ultimately, I have a feeling that 3-4 years from now, all the road leads to Peru.
Yeah. You know what? I do want to say this. Remember, whenever you start the process here in DR, there is no requirement, like in-country requirement for residency. So basically, you can get your residency visa in the States, come here, do the residency process, go back to the States, come back to pick up your card, go back to the States, and then just wait your time. Like there's no in-country and then requirement. And then when you are able to apply for your citizenship, you do that. And I assume you know a little bit of Spanish. If not, you're gonna learn, right?
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to. So I do want to start with the DR just to be able to get my feet wet, and just coming with that resident visa, just get that whole process done, and from then on just move over to getting that Mekusa passport, because it's just going to open up a lot of doors in terms of travel in Latin America as a whole.
And Peru only requires 6 months for you to be in country 6 months out of the year. So you do your 6 months, and then you can split your time traveling, and you can also be in DR for a little bit. So I mean, I feel like the difference between doing that and being sort of a digital nomad or just a nomad when you're going from country to country, where you're not getting that experience of being in society when you're actually a resident. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's different because
go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was saying I was agreeing with you because I think a lot of people don't look at the residency part of things because they just want to go to a particular. Because I see it a lot with folks that are trying to do the whole Colombia thing, and I always go, "Have you actually looked at the Colombia process?" Because it's like, if you're not in the right part, you could get because I think they have things divided into three now, like the visitor part,
Yeah,
the migration part, and a lot of things. But
exactly.
if you're
The
not in
resident
the
part.
right
Yep.
part, yeah, if you're not on the right part, you might be there for 3, 5 years, and you haven't, even been able to
Exactly.
be on the right track to get the residency thing. So,
Exactly.
and I think I just feel like a lot of brothers don't look at it in that way. They're more like
Yeah.
looking at it in terms of I'm gonna go there for 3, 6 months. But it's like, what if you actually try to just set down roots for in a place, get to know the
Exactly.
country, get to know the country for maybe 3, 4 years, and just from then on move to a different place, get that residency,
Yeah.
move to a different place.
Yeah.
So
And you
for
could
me,
do that. You could do that all at the same time in different countries. Like you
exactly.
can do that. You can live in three different countries at the same time. Three different
Yeah.
residencies.
Yeah. So for me, the future is more of being a global citizen,
Yeah.
just live in a place, get to know the culture for, 4 or 5 years, well, I said 3 to 5 years. And from then on, just see a different culture, because
Yeah.
life is too short. You have to get
Life
all those
is short.
experiences in instead of just staying in the US and calling it, good enough. To me, that's not good enough. I
Exactly.
have to
It- it-
experience as much culture as I can.
exactly. We got to take advantage of our buying power that we have from the U.S. in our passport to be able to travel and experience other countries in a more local manner. And if we can be a resident and we can open our business and provide a feature to where, hey, I can have various passports. 5 years from now, I can have various passports and I can live where I want to live for any amount of time, and I don't have to be worrying about doing border runs or worrying about immigration processes. You just have different passports, and boom, and you have kids. Your kids can be. You can pass that citizenship down to your kids, and
Oh
they
yeah.
can take advantage of what they want to take advantage of. I mean, I feel like it's just opportunities are limitless when you look at everything from that global perspective, right?
Oh
Not
yeah.
just I experienced the world and this country, and that's it. I mean, nah, man. I can tell you this, man. This I don't see at any point in my life where I would live a significant amount of time in the U.S. again, and because there's just so much. Not because the U.S. is so bad, and not because I mean it is really expensive, and this it has its issues, but there's
Right.
just so much in this world that one can experience and be a part of. I feel like you're just selling yourself short when you just
Absolutely.
say, "Hey, this is it."
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, man, I know you gotta go back to work, man. But anything else, man? Anything you want to touch on or anything?
I can't think of anything. I guess I just want to say folks should travel more. Get that
Yeah,
passport. Just get that passport and travel. See other cultures. See how other people live, because it changes you. And especially for African Americans, it's like when you get on that plane to leave the United States, it's gonna be like a weight just got off you. It's just
yeah,
gonna feel that weight get off you. And typically, when I'm flying back to the States, I'm always like, oh my God, here we go again. I have to be on guard the entire time. I have to be, I have to wear this uniform, this uniform of of blackness, and just have to be guarded all the time and watch everybody and just. But when once you leave the States, I always feel like it's like I can breathe again, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So folks
It
need to
takes
get
some getting
out.
used to, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, folks
I
need
do
to
want
get
to ask
out
you
and
this.
travel. Yeah.
Mercosur. You mentioned Mercosur, and I did not explain it. And I would like for you to explain it for the audience. What is Mercosur, and why is it so valuable?
Oh, so basically, it's let's see how I can even. I think it's almost like NATO without it being a military alliance. So it's just an organization of certain countries that have come together, and a big part of it is free trade, and as part of that free. Oh, I think a good example would be
European Union.
Yeah, the European Union. I was also thinking of the agreement that Canada, America, and Mexico have. I can't remember what
NAFTA.
that thing. Yeah, NAFTA. It's almost like NAFTA
Mm-hmm.
in a way because with NAFTA, Americans, if you fit certain qualifications and occupations, you can, work in an NAFTA country for, I believe it's 3 years. You're given a 3 years
Mm-hmm.
work permit, and then you can renew it and all of that. So MECUSA is just that type of concept. It has to do with trade. It has to do with open borders for the countries that are part of that. And I can't remember the top of my head all the countries that are in. I know Peru is one of them. Chile is one of them. Colombia is one of them. I believe Brazil might be one of them. I might be wrong.
Yeah, essentially all the countries in South America outside of
The
Guyana
Caribbeans.
and Suriname. Yeah.
Yeah, outside of the Caribbean, I believe.
Yep.
So basically, with the MECUSA thing, if you say you get a residency in a MECUSA country and you're able to become a citizen of that country, then you're able to move to a different MECUSA country and get residency right away without having to deal with the visa stuff. So it's a very cool concept. And when you begin to think of life in that regard, it's like, okay, so you're telling me I can, spend 3 years in, say, Colombia, and I don't have to worry about visas. And then from there, I can move to Brazil for 4 years and don't have to worry about visas. It's like it opens up all that doors for you. So I I would tell people to truly look into it, and if you're lucky enough to get into a country and you're able to get that whole situation figured out and be able to get citizenship in that country, it's just gonna open up a lot of doors for you.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And I think that Mercosur is really dope because there's a lot of countries in South America that you can actually move through. So it opens up a lot of options that a lot of other countries that you wouldn't have in a lot of other countries. For example, there's nothing like that in the Caribbean. At least not to my knowledge.
Right. I
There's
don't think
nothing
there
like
is.
that in Central America. Me personally, I have not considered Peru, but I have considered Uruguay for other reasons, more so for the economy is very
Stability.
stable
Yeah.
and education is good and all that stuff.
Yeah.
However, Peru is now on my list. Since I've talked to you last time, I've actually been looking at Peru as a possible move in the future. But right now, the top of my list is Costa Rica and Mexico.
Oh,
But
okay.
it'd be good to have a
Okay.
Mercosur country.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I
Yeah,
gotta run. I gotta
yeah.
run. It was great to actually talk to you. You
Hey,
actually, you
same
could
here,
actually
brother.
hear my voice.
Yeah. Same here, brother. It's been good, man, and thank you for coming on. And let's make sure we do this again. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
All right, ciao. Hey, folks. So I'm gonna wrap this up. So I hope you all got some out of this video. We went from talking about discrimination in the Dominican Republic, talking about the whole Haiti Dominican thing and the U.S. Embassy deportation, the forced labor and all that stuff. And then as my man Xstrolling came on, we talked about the importance of traveling, the importance of getting that residency when you travel, and getting that second passport and third passport, etc. So I hope you all got some out of this channel. I hope you all got some out of this video and all my videos I have on my channel. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, like, share with all your family and friends, co-workers, everyone. Subscribe. And if you have any questions or statements, leave them in the comment section of the video, and I'll get back to you. Peace.